Hi, my name is Jenny. Welcome back to my channel, Such That It Is. I am a mom of 4. I am a home educator of going on 12 years, and one of my favorite things to talk about is freeschooling. And freeschooling is simply a term that I utilize, meaning how can we give our children a quality education for free or very low cost involved? Because we all recognize there is a cost involved, but if we're going to either utilize our resource of time or we're going to utilize the resource of money. And many home educators, we are short on the money side, right? Because many of us are staying home or we're trying to supplement our income in order to homeschool, meaning we have to utilize more time, right? That is just a basic fact of life. So as we're utilizing our time as a resource, we need to be looking for ways that we can cut costs. However, we do not want to cut the quality of our education. One of the main reasons we have our children at home is to provide them with a quality education. So that's what we're trying to do today. So with all of that in mind, I've mentioned earlier, I really am a proponent of Charlotte Mason philosophy. And so let's go ahead and talk about what are some ways that we can incorporate Charlotte Mason ideals and principles with the idea of freeschooling. Okay, so if we are thinking about Charlotte Mason's methods and her ideas for, say, 3rd to 5th grade, right around that age, we are going to have subjects that we're going to teach our children every day and subjects we're going to teach them once a week. So penmanship, reading, narration, recitation, math, and foreign language are the subjects we're going to try to hit every single day. And then the subjects we're going to try to hit once a week are history, art study, nature study, and composer study and or music theory, okay? And somewhere in there we're going to do map skills and geography. Usually that is also once a week. And then just as a note, another thing that Charlotte Mason was big on was having your lessons accomplished in the morning so that the children had at least 2 hours to play outside in the afternoon and to work on handicrafts and kind of ideas to be a well-rounded person and a well-rounded individual. And if we are keeping our lessons that 10 to 15 minute length and we are eliminating all the busy work, then we can do that. We can provide a really good quality education for our children in about 4 hours each day. So very, very briefly, and I do go into this in more detail on my podcast, but very briefly, if we are trying to teach penmanship, for example, the Charlotte Mason wants us to teach penmanship every single day, but we are free schoolers, and so we do not want to buy a manuscript workbook. That's fine. Go ahead, and there's a couple of different things you can do. If you are very confident in your penmanship, then you can teach your children utilizing a chalkboard or a dry erase board and just every day copy a Bible verse or a meaningful passage or something that you've pulled out of their lessons and have them just copy that in their very best handwriting. If you are like me, maybe you need just a little bit more help with your manuscript handwriting, with your penmanship, you can utilize, there's so many different resources online. If you have access to a computer or an iPhone and a printer, you can print off all sorts of different great resources. Now, I realize that there is some cost involved, right? Because we have to pay for the printer ink and we have to pay for the paper. I understand that. In the long run, depending on which system you go with, you may end up spending more that route over time. So that is a consideration to keep in mind. However, one of my favorite things is just print the manuscript alphabet and utilize that in teaching your children to form their letters correctly. And then you don't have to print off page after page after page. You can just make sure they're forming their letters correctly. And now everything going forward, we're utilizing this correct formation of our letters. Reading practice, the written word is everywhere. So of course, I'm going to always encourage you to read the greats and to read the classics. And certainly if you're a Christian, to be reading scripture to your children. These are all good and wonderful things. But don't forget about your local library. That's not a good option for us. I realize many people don't have access to a local library. So then utilize maybe Gutenberg online. That's a really good resource. Gutenberg Press. Minibooks.net is another resource. If you like audiobooks, LibriVox.org is a great resource. Dictionaries, newspapers, any and every available resource, go ahead and utilize that. And I think you'll be surprised how quickly they kind of add up. One of my favorite things too, and for actually purchasing books, have been during the summer yard sales or thrift stores. We have really built up our family's library by utilizing those things. And by spending pennies on the dollar, we're able to really invest in quality books that otherwise, quite frankly, we would not be able to afford. So the great thing about recitation, something else we're supposed to do every day, is recitation is free, right? Okay, so for my family, one of our favorite things to do is to work on a passage from the Bible, from Shakespeare, and from A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh, or any of his poetry books. These are... They form kind of a bond and a shared language because these are things that we've read together over time and recited together. I also would definitely recommend the book How to Teach Your Children Shakespeare. Now, I believe it is $14 on Kindle right now. It's well worth every penny. But even if you cannot do that, his website, howtoteachyourchildrenshakespeare.com, just spell it all out, he actually does have the passages that, again, you can print off and utilize. One of his key ideas, I'm sorry, I don't have the author's name in front of me, but one of his key ideas is to go line by line. And I found that very helpful for our recitation. Now, math. The best option for math, as near free as we can get, are used bookstores, thrift stores. There are online options like Khan Academy. My children have tried Khan Academy. It has not really worked for our family, but other families have had wonderful results. So that's going to kind of depend on your teaching style, your child's individual taste, all of those things. I would be remiss if I didn't mention myaudioschool.com. There are many Charlotte Mason approved books on there, free for listening. And then again, talking about printables, enchanted learning.com has many different free resources and printables too. These tend to go more towards like whatever is going on that month. They're very theme related, but we've found them to be a very valuable resource. Other tips worth mentioning are to rely on what you have, okay? So if you have a really great dictionary, I happen to have a really great dictionary that I love, so we can utilize that for reading, spelling, vocabulary, handwriting practice, all of those things, right? So really just kind of looking around, trying to, do we have science books we haven't read yet? Maybe we're going to incorporate those in. One of the number one things for free schooling is capitalize on whatever you have available. So if you have an elderly relative who is really good at gardening or baking or something, spend time with them intentionally. And yes, of course, we want to foster those relationships, but also there's so much that they can teach us and teach our children and pass on these lifetime of accomplishment and achievements and knowledge that they've built up. One of my husband and my favorite overall parenting tips is to mentor your children. So basically, we're just going to bring them into whatever it is that we're working on. So if we are cooking or cleaning or repairing the car or making a home improvement, we want to bring our children into that. And by 10, 11, 12, they're going to have all these invaluable skills that, quite frankly, many adults do not know how to do. And they know, my children know things that I did not know how to do at their age. And that's because my husband and I have brought them along with us on just everyday life and tasks. So board games are a great way to reinforce concepts and foundational knowledge that we're working on teaching our children and have fun while we're doing it. And then last but not least, double up. Free schooling is definitely about the quality, okay? So we are going to max out the quality of whatever we have available to us. And in that way, we're going to be very deeply read and deeply knowledgeable. And if we are not widely read, that's okay. That's the wrong goal, right? It is possible to teach our children Bible, history, Shakespeare, algebra basics, utilizing resources that are free. So if you have any questions for me, you can comment, you can leave me a note, you can email me, and if I can help you in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks for watching. Bye.